Hello everyone out in the internet world. As more products pile up for Project Genesee, and I really do mean pile up, the UPS man was nice enough to pile all the boxes out in front of my door, so I had to go out through the garage to get this thing. Yay, not being able to open the door. Good job, UPS, thanks. Anyway, today's unboxing is going to be the Cougar Solutions Mid-Tower, so pay attention to today's Chanley style. There's really nothing special about this case. It's just regular cardboard with black ink printed on it. And honestly, for $15, I'm surprised I even got any kind of logos or anything like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and tear into it right now instead of wasting your time reading the outside of the box, because everything on the inside of the box, everything on the inside of the box is what's explained on the outside of the box. Go figure. Alright. Alright. So, there's the front of the case, which usually you see the top of the case. Alright, and there we have it. A little bit of... Nope, never mind. I thought it was going to be scratches from shipping, but not really that bad. A $15 case was smart enough to include a plastic protector for their logo. Something not even a, Bitphoenix from my last review could manage to muster up. So, it's good to know that they're at least figuring things out. Even though the box didn't say it, you could easily fit two 100mm fans, intake, exhaust, whatever. So that's this side. You got your front, where you can fit two 120mm or one 140mm intake, three optical drive slots, one USB 2.0, one USB 3.0, headphones microphone and headphone jack, hard drive light, and power button. Doesn't seem to be a reset button on this. Come around to this side. Nothing really fancy here. On the back, you have a 120mm exhausting fan included, and 7 expansion slots for full ATX, I/O cutout, and then the bottom mounted power supply slot. Ow. Alright, now that I've finished struggling getting that off. Alright, so if you look right here, we got some toolless design for unlock and lock, making it easier to install and uninstall hard drives, optical drives, and, I guess if you're still using it, floppy drives. Down here we have, looks like pop-off filters. Yeah. In the bottom for your power supply and or fans. You have your regular I/O with your USB, audio, power LED, positive and minus, power switch, and hard drive LEDs. And here, oh, there we go, our baggie of goodies. The thing I'm always looking for. So down here, actually inside the case, there is a hidden slot for a SSD, which is really nice. I apologize, I'm just bouncing all over the case right now. One thing right here, which I think is actually really, really interesting design, is one of the standoff screws has an extra tall node, or whatever you want to call this. So basically, once you get your hard drive positioned in, or your motherboard positioned in, it's going to hold it in place here, so you don't have to worry about it popping off away from the rear I/O, which is really nice to see. I'm liking that cases are starting to add that in, because that first screw is always a pain in the ass, and then after that, it's just a matter of lining everything up. You get a good look at the front here. went ahead and popped the front faceplate off. As you see in the front, they put some nice mesh with a little bit of foam here to help as dust filters for the intakes. And see, your 140 miller would fit about in the middle, whereas the two 120s will fit here and down here. So I guess that's a little bit of a preference right there, what you'd rather put in. Well, you know, depending on what kind of hard drive setup you'd have, then maybe the 140 would be better than the two 120s. You never know. More hard drives, more air blocked, you know. I'd probably go for the two 120s, whereas if I only had an SSD mounted in the bottom, go for one big ass 140, help pull in that extra amount of air for your graphics cards. And as you see, we've even got a recessed motherboard tray, so you've got all these cutouts here to help run wires and cables, and really nice cable management. Especially since that this case costs, you know, half as much as the Thermaltake one I reviewed not that long ago, or that I used for Project Dark Wolf. This case is actually really, really nice in quality, and it's light, but it's not flimsy. So yeah, it's maybe like maybe a pound, but you'd expect it to be real flimsy, and it's not. Like, it doesn't really have much movement to it, which is really nice. But like I said, you got plenty of area right here to help tuck away cables, cable management through here, all these nice little slots to tuck things away and pass things behind the motherboard tray, and even a cutout up here for your 4-pin or your 8-pin CPU power for the top of the motherboard, which is really, really nice. And then this right here actually confuses me a little. I have not seen a case with this before, so I'll go ahead and find out what this is all about. Oh, okay, I see. Just like the BitPhoenix case, it's a nice little plate to help hold in all the extra expansion slot covers for when there's no graphics cards or things in place. A little rickety, kind of makeshift. Not really that good and functional. If they'd have just maybe, I'm not even sure what, but I guess to save on size and spacing, they had to put this so that this was outside the case to really shorten up the overall length of the case, making it a little more compact. So I guess in a way it's kind of a win-lose situation. They could have done better on the bracket, but the overall size of the case is actually pretty nice. So really, they're just working with what they've got, which is commendable. Go ahead and look at the top real fast while we're here. If you look, they already pre-slotted out 120mm fan slots, but I'm pretty positive if you really wanted to, you could probably fit 140s up there, but honestly, I don't see why you would need to. This case has plenty of airflow, especially for a $15 case, and I know I keep saying that, but I am just really impressed with this case in general for as, you know, inexpensive as it is. I don't even want to call it cheap, because I feel like that denotes something bad about this case. While playing around with the bottom of the case and the fan filters, I noticed something that was a little bit silly for this case to have. While you can mount these on the bottom, if you mount your power supply pulling in or intaking air from the bottom, this pretty much locks up the whole fan filter. It's going to be permanent here. It's not really going to have space to take off and clean and things like that. And if you take it out and try to put it on the bottom, you pretty much can't unless these feet mount in a different way. So that one I'll have to try it out. Either way, cleaning of this fan is not really going to be an easy task. So while the thought was there, the idea just didn't come through. Alright, so as you can see, I moved the fan filter around just to try to inspect it better, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't clip in at the top. There's no way to remount the feet on the bottom. It's just, this is kind of a drawback of this design. But like I said, you know what? Free fan filters, whatever, I'll accept them. And it was a nice thought, but I don't think they thought it all the way through. Man, they're also a pain in the ass to put back in. As for the bag of goodies, let's see what we've got in here. We've got an instructional manual, which basically gives you the breakdown of all the parts. Oh, here we go. Let's see, 120 millimeter fans times 2 on the side cover. Oh, it did not say that on the outside of the box, but that's good to know. Anyway, okay, moving along. Got long and short hardware. I wonder what these long screws are for. Now I'm curious. Let's go back to this. The hell are the long screws for? Oh, it's to screw in the fans in the front panel. That's actually pretty awesome of them to include those for the front panel fans. We got standoffs, which honestly looks like they only have a couple of. It says it comes with 13 screws for main board and PSU, 18 screws for hard drives, 8 screws for the front fans, 4 screws for optical drives, 2 standoffs for main board foot holders. Alright, so in case you have to extend it farther than normal. And then 2 rubber grommets for external cooling if you decide to go that route. Very nice. I like how they give you the option. You don't have to always have the grommets in, because everyone knows grommets. If you don't use them, grommets dry up and fall out. 3 little things that I noticed that aren't actually included in the user guide are these weird little cone-shaped, feels like between a foam or a rubber, probably like a really dense foam, and it's got an adhesive on the back. I'm not sure if that's to help support the motherboard in case there needs to be, but I really like the addition of that, because sometimes the holes don't line up right or the motherboard hangs off a little bit. And I really would like there to be some support under it, so when I'm hooking up plugs into it, it doesn't flex, or I don't have to stick my hand underneath it or from behind. And I really like that. That's nice to see. Included in a computer case. Okay, so a few things I missed is there's actually an LED right underneath the power button to let you know that the power's on, which is a good thing. There's a 3.5-inch drive that I missed to point out earlier, and then on the back there's actually a spot for a lock, which I haven't seen that outside of laptops in forever. So this case really does have a lot of options. For pros, 15 bucks, can't beat it. Really, you can't. This thing has more options than some cases that cost $100. Another pro is it's already pre-filtered. There's a lot of slots for expansion and things like that. Plenty of space for fans and plenty of included hardware, which is always nice. A few of the cons, I really didn't like the fact that it felt like most of the hardware was put in with an impact wrench. Practically impossible to take off, but once it was out, not a big deal. Another pro/con, which I'm not really sure how I feel about just yet, is it did include 2 fan filters for the bottom. Pro being that they're included, and I love fan filters, and they're always good, and really the floor is where you're going to pick up most of your dust anyway. And con, because they really didn't think the fans all the way through. It ended up mostly just being in the way, especially for the intake on the PSU. It's just, you have to take your power supply out to clean the fan filter. It's just extra steps that really could have been easily avoided. Especially if it was like cut out right, magnetic, and stuck to the bottom. Done. Easy fix. But then again, $15 case, I don't think I should be bitching. Really, I really don't. Not at all. So pros and cons aside, would I buy this case again? Absolutely. I'd recommend it to just about anybody who's starting off that needs a cheap case to house their hardware. It really doesn't seem like a bad case at all, being that it is actually for a starter build. That being said, this actually is a starter build for someone. It's a $600 project named Genesee. So if you guys would like to see how this project turns out, make sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Subscribe down below. And, yeah. Project Genesee should be a really nice outlook for people that have very tight budgets and still want to make a gaming computer. Thanks for tuning in to Chanley Style.